Hello, everybody, the Bakes here, back with a review for y'all. I hope you all doing well, everybody. Everyone, today's video was going to be the first part of a series of videos we're going to do with a wrestling laser by, before I go back to Wrestlemania. For those of you who did the last video, everyone, I did bring up that I'll be going to Wrestlemania, I'll go Wrestlemania before we win everybody in Las Vegas, so, it'll be a special trip, everybody, as basically time to go Wrestlemania, everyone, but to be a little extra special, everyone, as this year is going to be marking my 20th anniversary of being a professional wrestling fan, everyone, so I decided to do some wrestling reviews there, along with the other stuff I'll be doing, doing videos and whatnot here, kind of celebrate that there, whatnot. And this will be the first of everybody. Everyone, in case y'all wondering if there was IO for everybody, I was originally trying to do this as re-recording through my iPad, everybody, but my iPad ended up overheating and ended up lost the recording sessions I had doing the original videos there, so I'll be doing this audio for everybody, things will be trimmed down, and post there, so that, it is sometimes everybody want to do audio form videos, everybody with reactions to movies and shows there, as well as some other stuff there, so yeah. And apologies if I might hurt sports, everybody. I did have some food not too long ago, but hopefully I have too bad here. But anyways, everybody, to kick off these sort of series of videos, everybody, wrestling videos or what, I'm going to be doing a remake of tier list a couple years ago, everybody, that being the WWE Champions tier list, everybody. There were a number of years ago when I ended up doing a tier list everybody on people who wanted WWE Championship there, but the version I had found on Tier Maker there did not have everybody who held the title there, so I just had to kind of judge, rankings there for people who were on the list there, but I felt it was incomplete there, want to make sure to do a proper one with all 4 champions there, so I said one day I would try to remake that tier list, and now that day's come, everybody, so I got the tier list. I found a tier list, everybody, that has all the previous WWE champions, everybody. Although this sprite has the individuals, everybody. So yeah, we got to do like a mashup of like relation to like their different raids they've had there. So now some people always say, "Oh, Hunter, you should probably just judge your individual raids there." But I did want to I want to make sure the video wasn't too long there. The reason amount of time there's that. So plus, everyone, we're talking about a championship that's been around since the 60s there, so I've had numerous people and numerous salaries hold on to it there, so we would be here for a while if I went over every single title rate and whatnot there, so yeah. So, without further ado, we go right to everyone, just a couple quick more things, everyone. First, everybody, of course, everyone, this is just my personal opinion, everybody. You don't have to agree, but be respectful comments there if you disagree. And also, sorry, I burst it there. And also, everyone, just because, of course, everyone, I will have, the tiers represent which child raise I think's better there than the others there. If a person is in the same tier there is similar playing field to me, in my opinion, there. I don't really think either one's better there, so I say, for example, if someone's in the same tier as S, or at both people S tier there, I could kind of steer them equal foot there. Same go if they were the lower tier there, so yeah. Just want to make that clear, everyone. Guys, I know good about people who do tier lists, everybody usually they have like the very top of their list, and like the overall best, the very bombers, the overall worst. So just want to make that clear before we get to your one. So yeah. All right, before doing one, we'll jump right into it here. So everyone, the highest ranking everybody here is an S tier there. Lowest one's D. So they'll be interested to see how this guy go down. Everyone, so yeah. So for doing what's going to get the start one, the person who made the tier list I found would have the alphabetical order there, so we'll be going from A's all the way down to the alphabet, everybody, for people who have all the championships there. So at the very top, everybody, we have AJ Styles, everybody. Everyone, AJ Styles, he's one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time there. First discovered him back when I was first guy to watch a TNA there around 2006 there. And I'm glad he's been one of those people there that's had a successful career. Just by promotion he's been in there, it includes WWE there, so he's become wrestling champion there. And he's had a couple reigns as WWE champion there. First one was the beginning of 2016 to the beginning of 2017. And the other one was lasted over a year there, from November 2017 to November 2018. So, and AJ Styles, AJ Styles, he had a pretty solid reign as champion there both times there, so obviously, one was a bit short the other one there, but still, it was a good short title reign for his first one there, and he had pretty good overall year title reign there where he was champion there before losing the old brain, so now, he did have some minor hiccups there in that long reign there, most notably his disappointing feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, everybody. A lot of people were excited to see the two of them go at it there, since they were really enjoying the matchup there from Wrestle Kingdom 2016 and New Japan Pro Wrestling there. And, they both came to WWE at the same time there. All be a little differently there. AJ went up straight to the main roster there, the Royal Rumble that year, while Shinsuke debuted in NXT. But people were hyped to see those two fight. They finally had their match at WrestleMania, and it was very disappointing there. This didn't have that same energy there. And their matches afterwards were better there, but still not as good as the Wrestle Kingdom matchup there. And there are some people that kind of soured a little bit there, that part there, since that was outside of, when Shinsuke challenged Seth Rollins there around 2023. That was the last main event push that Shinsuke would have for a long time there. Shinsuke's had a solid career WWE there, but, sure a lot of people there are people that would seem to be like a big player there, so not necessarily AJ's fault there, that department. More so WWE's booking Shinsuke there, on-off pushes there and whatnot since then, so. It was overall by AJ, had very overall strong title reigns everybody. I think it'd be fair to put him in A tier for the time. Hold on a second, my phone's being stupid here. As I was trying to say there, I think it'd be fair to put AJ Styles in A tier here, so. Okay, everyone, it's got to take a minute to get used to what this is my first time trying to do tier list through iPhone here. Normally doing it on iPad, everybody, but like I said, iPad really overheated there. I tried to do the screen cap recording there and whatnot, so I kind of work what I got here, so. Alright, well, next up, everybody, we have Alberto Del Rio. There, well, obviously, there's going to be some people that I'm not going to be a fan of there as a person there or as a wrestler. And Alberto Del Rio's first winner by Alberto Del Rio, two-time WWE champion there. Only held it for a very short time period, though, in 2011. First went SummerSlam, cashed out CM Punk, then lost about a month later to John Cena. Then went back October to Hell in a Cell, then held on until CM Punk beat him as far as 2011 there. So, and well, everybody, I never really consider myself a big fan of Alberto Del Rio as a wrestler there, was really too far. Did have like a strong dislike for the time there as a person. Now, granted, nowadays it's different there considering some of the stuff he's done. Not getting too much of that though, everyone, so, judging from his title reigns, champion would, so. And well, everybody, Alberto Del Rio, give him some credit there. He served his role okay there, but as the heel champion there, but it just wasn't really anything interesting there, so, Alberto Del Rio, his title champion wasn't really that impactful there, it felt like he was kind of being the hot potato there, with a championship there with Cena and Punk, kind of in between the feud they were having in 2011 there and whatnot, so, So yeah, everyone, Alberto Del Rio, he's not going to go very high here. In fact, he's probably our first person to D tier here, so yeah, I think they put Alberto Del Rio D tier there would be fair, so. Alright, well, next up, everybody, we have Andre the Giant, 8th one of the world, everybody. And I like Andre the Giant, everyone, so this is going to be, I know we have to do this, everyone, but like I said, judging from the title reigns, everybody, Andre has, at least in terms of the time WWE Championship there, has the shortest reign in the history of the title there, having about 5 minutes or so before he decides to try to vacate Championship and head over to Ted DiBiase there, which will lead to Jack Tunney vacate Championship there, and of course lead to WrestleMania 4 there, where there was a tournament to determine WWE Champion there, so. And well, everybody, I just felt, kind of looking back at what I just feel like that was kind of a bit of a waste there, the storytelling-wise there, I know some people guys say, well, Andre had health problems at the time there, he couldn't really go the same way he did there. I'm fully aware of that there. I'm not saying his reign had to be like a super long one there, but still, only 5 minutes with the WWE Championship there, I mean, this kind of takes away the stuff there that was going on between Andre and Hogan during that time period there, we're talking about the match that sold out, WrestleMania 3 there, had the largest tennis record there for decades there, and it's one of the most well wrestling matches of all time there, and well, it's kind of, after Andre finally beats Hogan to win the championship there, he's like, you know what, I'm going to head over to the Austin there since he paid me a bunch of money, so, yeah. So everyone, unfortunately for Andre fans out there, I'm going to have to put him in D tier there along with Alberto, so. Alright, next everybody, we have one of my favorites everybody, the able Batista everybody. Batista, 2-time 4WWE champion, unfortunately, both times weren't super long there. First reign only held it for about 8 days there, until vacant championship due to injury. Then he held on for a little bit longer there in 2010, during his heel turn there, so that from late 2009 to 2010 there, before he left the company the first time around. And his champion there going to John Cena, he'll go to WrestleMania 26 against John Cena there and whatnot, so, sorry about percent there. And everyone, Batista, his time with the championship wasn't really that long there, but the heel work he was doing there, leading up to the match with John Cena there, it was really good there, everyone, so, for everybody, this could be a little bit of the bias there, so Batista is one of my favorite wrestlers, everybody, but to me, that does kind of put it a little bit higher compared to Alberto Del Rio and Andre the Giant there, so, not by much, though, but, so, I'm probably going to go ahead and put Batista in C tier for the time being. That's everybody. We got Big Year One, Big E, 4WWE Championship One, cash in September 2011 on Bobby Lashley. Held it until day 122 there, where he lost the fatal five-way matchup there to Brock Lesnar, and unfortunately, that would be the only stint Big E would have the world title picture there. As a couple months later, he would have his injury there, and has been sidelined there, and up the air whether he'll return to wrestling or not. Everyone, when it comes to the first half of Big E's title by, I thought they were doing a relatively good job with him there. They were continuing stuff with Lashley there, and he was having a solid matchup there against Drew McIntyre at that year's Crown Jewel. And Drew McIntyre, so it was a main event there, so it was a strong win for Big E there. But then the side card started kind of going downhill for Big E after he lost to Reigns at Survivor Series there, and there's a four-way feud between him, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship there going to day one, where Big E felt like the third or fourth wheel, which is not necessarily the best look for your champion there. Then Brock Lesnar gets added to the matchup there. I believe, if I do remember, Roman Reigns did contract COVID that time because it was originally going to be him but Brock for the Universal Championship there, but then Roman got COVID, then Brock was added to the Championship matchup there, and Brock Lesnar ended up taking the win there that match, and a Big E salary there, so everyone, and very unfortunate one, Big E's definitely someone that should have had a strong world title right there, so I can only judge him for the one time he was the WWE Chair one, and well, I will go ahead. I'll go ahead and put Big E up in the C tier there. So like I said, I did think WWE were doing a pretty good job during his first half of this WWE Championship reign there. So, but then second half there, booking for him wasn't really that strong and whatnot. So I feel like C's a relatively fair spot to put him in. So yeah. Next, everybody, we have the Big Show one. Big Show a two-time former WWE Champion one. Both won and lost the championship in similar fashion there. Both tabs have been Survivor Series. First time was back in Survivor Series 1999. So he was at last minute there after Stone Cold Steve Austin had to be taken out. You guys had to get surgery there. This was going to be him, Triple H, and the Rockford towel there. Big Show was added there. He won the championship there. And lost it about a month later to Triple H before the end of the year. Similar fashion in 2002. Became the first person to pin Brock Lesnar there in his first reign as champion. Held it for about a month until losing to Kurt Angle. So, before the year was up. So, anyway, I like Big Show one, but to be honest, his WWE Championship reigns everybody weren't really that strong there, Outside the initial shock where if he waited there, so that his title reign really lasted that long there, he wasn't really booked that strongest champion there, so And also compared to his titles, World Heavyweight Champion, and even his ECW Championship reign, which I know people aren't too fond of what had happened with the ECW reboot there, 2006, 2010 there, but, looking back I thought they did a relatively decent job with Big Show's booking as a dominant heel champion at that time there, so. Now, if they did, well, they just kind of strictly have it focused on the ECW guys there, not just regular people from other rosters there, like Batista, Ric Flair, Undertaker there, and the DQ finishes there, whatnot, for half of them there. I felt like a lot of people would be a little more receptive to Big Show's time as ECW champion there, so. But point is, I'll put his ECW championship right over his title reigns as WWE champion, so. So everyone, I'm gonna have to go and put Big Show up in D tier there for the tier list, so. Sorry out there, Big Show fans. Alright, well, next, everybody, we have Superstar Billy Graham, everybody. Billy Graham held the WWE Championship for 1 year there in the 70s. Ended Bruno Sammartino's second reign as champion there, held it for 1 year until losing it to Bob Backlund. Now, everyone, I haven't seen everything Billy Graham did during his time as champion there, but from what I have seen, it was pretty solid work there. For heel champion at the time there, he was doing a good job there. He had big matches there with Dusty Rhodes as well as Peter Maivia there as well during that time period. So and oh, sorry, I burst it there. And everyone, Billy Graham, he was probably the first strong heel world champion at the time for WWE, so there's historical significance there as well, so. But since I didn't see everything there, I don't know if I can really put Billy Graham super high on the tier list there, but I think there's enough there so I can probably give him a B tier there, so. I think B tier would be a fair spot to put Billy Graham at there. Next everybody, we have, speaking of one of the people I previously made sure one, we have Bob Backlund one. Bob Backlund, two-time WWE champion, everybody, has one of the longest, also one of the shortest reigns in the history of the championship. Bob Backlund has the second longest reign with the WWE title there, with 5.5 years there before losing to Iron Sheik. And the second time around was in 1994, where he won against Bret Hart there, but then dropped it about a day later to Diesel there. I lost to him about 8 seconds there. That began Diesel's reign as champion, so. And everybody, if this was just solely his first time as WWE champion one, I think Bob Backlund would be our first S tier by sorry, what person there. Well, he held on title for 5.5 years there, and was a strong face for the company there. Time there's that. So that raid, the first title raid there, would give him S tier, but since he did have the second short raider by it, did buck it down bigger one. So so for Bob Backlund, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put him in A tier there along with AJ Styles. So sorry, my percent there. So sorry, Bird. I hope the last one bit there. It was alright. Next person, everybody, we have Bobby Lashley by Lashley a 2-time WWE champion win. First win in March 2021 against The Miz there. Has had a pretty strong run as champion there. Then lost it to Big E there. Previously mentioned Big E. Cash in there on episode Raw. A couple months later, Royal Rumble 2022, Bobby Lashley would win the championship back there. But unfortunately, his second reign would not last as long there, as he would get taken out during the WWE Championship matchup and would not get involved in the finish of the title there, which would be won by Brock Lesnar that night. Everybody... Bobby Lashley, first race champion there. I thought he was doing a really great job with the championship there. Sorry, Barry, what? Last one bit. If it was just his first raid there, I would give Bobby Lashley a very solid A tier there. But since he did have that second one that didn't really last too long, that does bump him down a bit. Got some of the Bob Backlund there, so unfortunately, I have to give Bobby Lashley a B tier there. If his second raid lasted longer, he definitely would have been higher up, but WWE decided to take the title off of them and give them Brock Lesnar again to set up a match between him and Roman Reigns. Title for title at WrestleMania 38. And not really give Lashley another chance to go to the title. Sorry, a little salty about there. When Lashley, another person I consider one of my favorites, so. But, looking at generally everybody, I'll put B tier here, so yeah. Alright, next everybody, we have Bray Wyatt everybody. Bray Wyatt's one of my favorites there from the modern era. WWE would really enjoy his work there. He's a one-time WWE champion won it at Elimination Chamber 2017, but eventually lost it to Randy Orton at WrestleMania 33. And everyone, if this was judging his Universal title raid by Bray Wyatt would be a higher rank on this list here, but since this is the one-time WWE title raid, unfortunately, I am going to put Bray Wyatt D tier there. He only held the championship for a little bit of time, lost the lackluster matchup with Randy Orton, and never really had a chance to go after the title again after that. So it'll be a couple more years before WWE give Bray Wyatt another main event push. So sorry, 1% there. Last one for a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, Bray Wyatt fans, I am going to put him down D tier there. Now, next, everybody, we have Bret the Hitman Hart, everybody, and everyone will go ahead and say everyone, Bret Hart's going to be our first S tier for the two-lister one. Everyone, Bret Hart's one of those people, everyone, that if someone were to ask me who helped define the prestige of the WWE Championship there, that was there, Bret Hart would be one of the first people that would come in mind. Sorry, my Mr. Words out of perfect set there. Anyways, everyone, Bret Hart is title raid, very impactful there. He had solid rework there, good promos there. And great feuds with different individuals there. Most of the ones there being with his brother Owen Hart and with Shawn Michaels there. So, everyone, sorry if I'm saying there a lot to everybody. Some of my previous video did bring up that I do say there a lot. And I am trying to work on everyone, so apologies in advance if I do say there a lot here, everyone. So, figure I'd make a quick comment on that, everyone, before continuing. But anyways, everyone, yeah, Bret Hart, safe there, put him in the S tier one, first S tier for the tier list one. So, yeah. Now, everyone, we have the other person, everybody, it's. People may not be too fondly of, considering what's been going on recently there with allegations. So, but next, everybody, we have Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock Lesnar, he's one of those people, everybody, that had up and down title reigns with the WWE Championship. The first couple reigns, everybody, were very solid. Back when his first run WWE, except for his last one there, where he kind of did some of his character work, made him too cowardly and whatnot. And then his second run WWE one, well, he did have the title reigns. He barely defended the championship when he was around, so, yeah. And his last couple raids, I previously mentioned for 2022, were completely unnecessary. A part of me gets it. Brock Lesnar was a big name there, He's a safe person to have in regards of building up big matches too, but at the same time, looking back on the bill with him or Reigns, I just felt, if they were going to do the title for title matchup there, they could have easily went different directions, instead of the one they ultimately went with late that matchup, so. Felt like his last couple raids were a bit unnecessary there, so yeah. So, Brock's gonna be a little trickier one to kind of put, but kind of thought about everyone, so ultimately everyone I decided, I'm gonna go ahead and give Brock a C tier there. I feel like C tier will be a decent balance spot, kind of compiling his raids there, I said first raids, solid ones, but his last couple ones were, either lasted long, but weren't really exciting, or were completely unnecessary to happen. So, anyways, everybody, our next Compared by next superstar by wrestler, for tier list, everybody, we have one of the people that's synonymous with the WWE Championship. We're talking about the history of Tyler by that being Bruno Sammartino. What is going to be self-explanatory? One, Bruno Sammartino, bear next S tier by, I mean, dude, still to this day holds the longest reign with the title at 7.5 years, almost 8 years. And managed to hold it for another couple of years, not too long after that there. He was a big hit. He was a big draw and name for WWE. And he was one of the people that helped put not just the title, but WWE on the map. Got a little Billy Graham there, where I haven't seen everything from Bruno Sammartino there. Feel like he's, just for the, feel like, putting him in S tier is one of those spots that's warranted, Bruno Sammartino was the first guy to help establish the WWE Championship as a title fight for there. Well, I know he's not the first one there. We'll get to him in just a minute here, but Bruno Sammartino was a guy that helped put the WWE Championship as well as help put WWE on the map, establishing itself there during the 60s, 70s there. So Bruno Sammartino S tier, easy one to do. Now we talk about the first ever WWE Championship. Would that be the original Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, or would everyone? I'm gonna be honest, everyone, outside of some matches where he did post his time as WWE Champion, I'm not really too familiar with Buddy Rogers' work. But he is the first WWE Champion there, so I'm not gonna put him in D tier there. That would be shameful there to do it to the guy, the first WWE Champion. But since I haven't really seen his matches there or anything like that, first time WWE Champion, I feel probably the fair spot probably be a C tier there. So yeah. Alright, next everybody, we have Chris Jericho Chris Jericho, a one-time WWE Champion. He was the first ever undisputed WWE Champion, being The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, like a Vengeance 2011, to hold both WCW and WWE Championships. The big win for Jericho there, but his first month champion went okay there, but then after that one, leading to WrestleMania, he was playing second fiddle there in the feud with Triple H, where primarily focusing on Triple H's safety there. Triple H came back, went over Rumble, tried to WWE Championship. So you'd think it would be between him and Jericho, but nope, it's between Triple H and Stephanie there. So Jericho just kind of tied along as somebody's entourage. So not really the best look for your world champion. So another one, Chris Jericho is one time as a chairman. There's been a little debate for everyone whether put either C or D tier. On one hand, probably considered put in C tier due to C is tolerated, did last longer compared to some of the people I've had in D so far. But on the other hand, the overall booking he has champion there, they kind of did Chris during the title reign, so I'll go ahead and put Chris Jericho in C tier for time being there, but he could potentially move to a D tier. So next, everybody, we have the cult of personality himself, the self-proclaimed best professional wrestler in the world, CM Punk. Now, CM Punk has had a couple reigns to each other. First went back and made the bank against John Cena in 2011 in Chicago. They briefly went away from WWE for a bit. They came back. There was a time period where there was two WWE champions. Cena was having the title there. To see a Punk came back to that unification matchup at SummerSlam. Then lost it to Alberto Del Rio. Punk would eventually win back a few months later there at Survivor Series. And would hold on to the championship for 434 days before losing to The Rock at the Royal Rumble 2013. And well, everybody, there was CM Punk. One of those people who kind of go back and forth, whether put S tier or A tier there. Because his second title, everybody, as a champion, he did a really good job, everyone. He did a great job both as the face and the heel, but you can't ignore what happened the first for everybody, Yeah. Oh, it's cool that the whole cool moment there with like Baker everybody, and the match for him to see the, sorry, I'm going to make some words here. SummerSlam was really good. Having WWE cash in on, cash in on there, and kind of cut the wind out of the sails a bit for a little bit. Yeah, took away the energy a bit for his first title win, so ultimately, I am going to put CM Punk in A tier, which I still think is a respectable spot there, So, for any CM Punk fans there, don't get to us to be there. A, still pretty high up there on the tier list, so yeah. Next, everybody, we have the current WWE Champion, that being the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, who went at last year's WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, as we hold on to title since then, and will be defending championship against John Cena for Night 2's main event at WrestleMania 41. Oh, sorry, my shirt's here for one. That's alright, for a second one. But anyways, everybody, good words, everyone. Everyone, I talk about, for those who may remember on my podcast, everybody, for last year one, I did talk very highly of Cody versus Roman last year one, and did say at the time it was my match of year 2024. So I felt like it did a very good balance with in-ring work, but also storytelling aspects as well. And it was a great, moment there for Cody Rhodes finally win the WWE Championship. Finally finished the story there and stuff like that. So, and I want to make sure to give time to, properly, see how Cody was going to do his champion there. And, well, everybody, Cody, he's been doing a pretty good job as champion, everyone. He's had some pretty solid matches there. For Tal, the Fed Championship, he's been a very strong champion, and he has established himself as the new face of the company there. So there's no denying that. Now that being said, everyone, there have been some cool off periods there for Cody Rhodes. Everyone, partly with stuff with the layers of the bloodline there, whatnot. Sarah Mercer there, hopefully last one bit. Sarah would hope the last one bit. So anyways, everyone, and, Parby's kind of, been back and forth whether to put Cody in A or S tier there, since, he is still the currently champion there, and, it's a lot easier for me to judge title reigns there once they conclude there, because there's a start and a finish to what's title reign, so. But as of right now, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and give Cody Rhodes an A tier, but his reign could potentially move up to S, depending on how the rest of it goes, so I feel like A is a very respectable spot for Cody Rhodes. Like I said, if I do an updated version tier list for everybody sometime in the future, his title reign could eventually go to S. But for now, I'm going to put Cody in A tier. Next, everybody, we have Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, multiple-time WWE champion. First win at SummerSlam 2013. It's John Cena, but they got cashed in by Randy Orton. Then there was a little back and forth between him and Orton there in late 2013. And there was the whole with stuff, everybody, leading up to WrestleMania 30, where Daniel Bryan beat Triple H beginning of the night, and won the big one, being Randy Orton and Batista in the main event there. Finally won the championship. But unfortunately, his title reign would not last too long there, as, about over a month and a half into his reign, he would have to vacate due to injury. And a couple years after that, Daniel Bryan would briefly retire from professional wrestling. He would eventually come back, and later that, in 2018, everybody previously mentioned, would beat AJ Styles to become WWE champion, and he was doing really good heel character work by, and eventually lost to Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania 35. So, everyone, Daniel Bryan is a multi-time champion. He's going to be one of those ones that's kind of compiling his reign scare one. Well, his first few reigns, everyone didn't last too long there. His third reign, if it weren't for the injury there, was an alternate timeline where Daniel Bryan didn't have to relinquish the championship due to injury. Third reign would, solid one there. Oh, I did hear rumors there that, back then they were considering having him lose to Brock Lesnar there. Y'all know how John Cena lost to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2014. Well, I heard rumors that they were originally going to have plans to have that happen to Daniel Bryan prior to him getting injured. So, there one, as there's a rumor I heard, don't know if there's any truth to it, but if that's true, then, well, probably would have soured that there, so probably best, maybe that didn't happen. So, in regards of, having that booking scenario happen, so, let's try and see. But, like I said, Daniel Bryan had a very strong last reign as champion from 2018 to 2019. And that does elevate him above the people in C tier one. So I'm going to go ahead and give Daniel Bryan a B tier for his time as a champion. Next, everybody, we have Dean Ambrose, currently known as Jon Moxley, over at AEW. Dean Ambrose and Jon Moxley, one-time WWE champion. Cash in by the bank on Seth Rollins after Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns to become WWE champion there. Then there was a Shield threat there at Battleground 2016. Well, unfortunately, after that, Dean Ambrose, his steam that he gained for winning the championship there, with the Shield threat, whatnot, lost steam there. His challenger for SummerSlam that year was Dolph Ziggler, and no disrespect to Dolph Ziggler, but not necessarily people had in mind to be Dean Ambrose's first challenger after he got the better of his two Shield brethren back at Battleground. They had okay, but nothing too crazy. The match that wasn't spectacular at SummerSlam. They had Backlash, and in the first revival of the brand split by Dean Ambrose would lose the WWE Championship there to previously mentioned AJ Styles. So, Dean Ambrose, he's kind of in a similar spot with Big Boy. His first half of title reign, thought they were doing a relatively good job there, but then second half kind of fell off there. Now, I have heard that apparently, Dean Ambrose said some comments there during So Cold's podcast there that got heat with them, and that's why WWE ended up booking him as champion the way they did there and whatnot. Have his title reign early in his events, so, it's been years since I see that podcast, everyone, so I can't really say who was in the right, who was in the wrong there for that scenario, so, because everyone, I did, a potential that Dean's reign could have had was to get out there, so, and, well, it'll be his one only title reign in WWE. And a couple years later, he would leave the company there due to frustration with his booking of his character. And he's been doing well for himself at AEW. All of his current stuff hasn't really been the hottest there. So, I don't want to talk about too much, or we'll be go off topic there. So, anyways, everyone, Dean Ambrose, I say kind of similar spot at Biggie, so I'm gonna be fair, Dean here and give him a C for his title reign. So, put C tier there. Next, everybody, we have Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, two-time WWE champion. First won it during WrestleMania 36 against Brock Lesnar. Maybe I took WrestleMania 36. And he held the fort down for WWE during the infamous pandemic era. His first reign win coming in there, losing it to Randy Orton. But he ended up winning back a couple weeks later. And would hold on to the title until Elimination Chamber 2021, where The Miz cashed in on him and became WWE champion. So, and what everybody, sorry, I burst it there. What, Drew McIntyre, well, the pandemic era, there's no, looking back at everyone, some of the stuff pandemic era, WWE one, definitely awkward time period there with no fans in attendance there, But, one of the highlights everybody was Drew McIntyre as champion. He held the fort down. And, sorry, I burst it there. Oh, that's one little bit. Anyways, but since there was that little awkward period where he lost it there to Ray York for a couple weeks, then eventually went back, they kind of take some of the stuff out there, so I've kind of contemplated whether or not to put Drew McIntyre in A or B tier there, so, but ultimately what I decided, at least for now, I'm going to put Drew McIntyre in A tier, like I said, he was the WWE champion during the pandemic era there, and he was one of the few highlights that era where a lot of people have not looked back on too fondly, so yeah, Drew McIntyre, A tier for him. Next, everybody, we have Latino Heat A Guerrero. Sorry, I said there one. A Guerrero, a one-time WWE champion win against Brock Lesnar at No Way Out 2004. Held on to it there for a little bit until losing it to JBL at the Great American Bash 2004. So everyone, A didn't have too long of a title reign there, but it was a strong one-time champion reign one. So anyway, A Guerrero, he had great matches there, and some big rivalries there with Kurt Angle and JBL. And the crowd were invested with the things that were going on with A Guerrero as champion. So if A had a little bit longer title reign there, it would have been put higher on the list or one. But from one rate did have one, that does put him above some other people in the other tiers or one. So for A Guerrero, I'm going to go and put him in B tier there. Sorry, I there. Next, everybody, we have the Radar Superstar Edge. Everybody have Copeland or Cope over AEW. Edge, a multiple time WWE champion one. Sorry, I there. First win there in the beginning 2006, where he cashed in on John Cena's Revolution, but would eventually lose to Cena at Royal Rumble. They will win again in June 2006. Then lost Cena again at Forgiven 2006. Then Edge would win the Championship again a couple years later. We'll have a couple reigns there between 2009. War losing title, war to everybody during late year 2009. It was the first one eliminated by Jeff Hardy. So, hello everybody. Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, everybody, So there's that bias of me want to make sure he's at a good spot there, but at the same time, everyone, his title reigns, while he did great character work as heel champion there, didn't really last too long, As long as the one lasted maybe 3 months at tops there, 2006, so everyone, I kind of thought everyone, and ultimately decided I'm going to go ahead and put Edge in B. Hang on a second, everyone. Sorry about everyone, Tier Maker temporarily crashed on me there for a bit, so hopefully I'll be the only time that does that there, so. But as I was saying, everyone, prior to that happened, I'm going to go ahead and put Edge in B tier. I think that's a relatively fair spot to put Edge in, so yeah. Next, everybody, we have someone who a lot of wrestling fans haven't really seen a positive lens of late there, that being Hulk Hogan. Now, everyone, before I continue, everyone, I do want to make a quick comment, everyone. Now, everyone, back a number of years ago, everyone, when I did my 150 subscriber Q&A video one, I did have some questions about it. One of them was asking about, some of my favorite wrestlers there. And at the time, it did name Hulk Hogan as one of them. Everyone, I just want to say, everyone, that as a few years ago, everyone, Hulk Hogan's not really one of my favorite wrestlers nowadays there. There's no denying that, one professional wrestler would not be what it is without him there, There's no denying that, but at the same time, looking back at different things about Hulk Hogan, he has just overall opinion of him as a person sour there, And of course, there was the infamous, leaks there where Hogan said some very racist stuff, And I know some people said, that he was going through a very terrible time in his life there. Around 2007, we was dealing with different things like the divorce with his wife Linda, as well as stuff with his son there, whatnot, other things, but still not really the best excuse to say all that stuff, At first I was kind of like, I've heard Hogan apologize there. And it's like, you know what? As long as he doesn't do it again, I'll be able to give it a chance. But then I heard some friends of mine there that's, he apparently retracted his apology there, saying that, he thought it was an equal environment where he thought that kind of language was okay to say there and whatnot, which like, Hogan, no, hey. And then, of course, even ignore that stuff by, there's also other things nearby, like, a lot of the big things come out recently by the different lies Hulk Hogan has told there, where have been some older ones there, like some recent ones there, like saying Hogan tried to take credit for Hogan's popularity within WWE there, to let him being shot to make rosters that, or some more infamous ones there, such as Hogan, giving tickets to a fan there to SummerSlam 1981, which, obviously that should be a red flag everybody because Hogan wasn't even around WWE during that time there. This was during the period where he was kind of taking a break from wrestling there after his match with Sid in WrestleMania 8, I believe it was. Yeah, it was 8. Hulk wasn't even around WWE there at the time. It didn't return until sometime 1993. So, that's obviously a bit of a red herring there, so, And, of course, there's some recent things that went on there with the, his Real American beer stuff there, and, the controversy about there was a lady that claimed she was a spokesperson there for Hogan's beer there. Then she got fired there, something like that. Some other stuff, everybody. And I feel like it's kind of general opinion of Hulk Hogan nowadays there. With what happened earlier this year at Las Vegas and during the Raw premiere. Not Las Vegas, sorry, with Los Angeles during the Raw premiere on Netflix, where Hogan was just getting booed out of the building there. So, just wanted to quickly address everyone while I had a chance there. So everyone, in short, everyone, Hogan used to be one of my favorites, but not really anymore. So, now that being said, everyone, I am going to try to be, unbiased here and just judge Hogan based on his title reigns there. And Hogan, he's definitely another one of those people there that have had strong reigns to be champion, but also not so strong reigns champion, or something felt like it was necessary. His first one, Hogan has the third longest reign in the history of championship with the belt, holding it from 1984 to 1988. He was a face of company during the big boom period for WWE there, that barred the mainstream there, so... And some of those later ones are by, such as his title reign where he went in 1983 and WrestleMania 9. For a couple months there, then did nothing, and dropped to Yokozuna, keep the reign 1993. And then his brief nostalgia win there, 2002, where he beat Triple H a month later after Triple H won the championship from Chris Jericho. And Hogan held it for a couple months there, then eventually lost it to The Undertaker. The match that wasn't well received, so everyone, Hogan is definitely one of those people that's had kind of went over the place with this reigns to the championship everyone. So, everyone, I feel like, because of how impactful his first reign was, everybody, it does put him higher as compared to some other people in the other ones. So, I think, be fair there, I'm going to give Hulk Hogan a B tier on the tier list. So, doesn't necessarily put him too high, but not necessarily too low on the list either. So, alright, next everybody, we have the Iron Sheik, everyone. Iron Sheik by one of the most important transitional champions in WWE's history. He's the one who ended Bob Backlund's reign as champion there, and was the one that Hulk Hogan defeated to become the WWE champion there. So there is historical significance with Iron Sheik one, but because his title reign didn't really last too long, that does kind of affect his overall rating list one. So, but since he is one of the most important transitional champions there, I'm gonna go and put Iron Sheik in C tier. Alright, next everybody, we have Ivan Koloff, everyone. Ivan Koloff, everybody. Kind of similar to Iron Sheik there. One of the most important transitional champions or one. As Ivan Koloff was the one who ended Bruno Sammartino's first reign as champion, which left people really shocked that night there, where the arena was completely silent. And whenever you have moments like that, there is truly wild to happen there. Not very often you have those kind of moments. Everyone. Martin in comparison would probably be when Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. So have moments where the kind of entire crowd stood. Or to have nowadays there, so... But he would only have the title for about a month before losing it to Pedro Morales, so... Outside of the matchup there where Koloff lost the title there to Pedro Morales, I'm not really too familiar with his work. I'm more familiar with stuff after he won the WWE Championship there. Probably this tag team with Nikita Koloff, so... during WCW, so... But because it's sort of significance, everyone, I feel like that does put a bit higher than some people in D tier, so I'll put Ivan Koloff in C tier, everyone. Next, everybody, we have JBL Underwood. JBL Underwood, a one-time WWE champion, won from Prince of Eddie Guerrero from Great American Bash 2004, and held it on to WrestleMania 2005, where he lost it to John Cena. Another one, with the one time JBL had title right there, yeah, it was a pretty solid run there, so. Sorry, one burst it there. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry again for everyone over the last bit. It was the time that JBL had the championship win. He had a pretty solid run with the title there, so I like the amount of time there, and they had some good matches there, although something more disappointing there, like the match we had with the Undertaker and Sourceside 2004. A little disappointed there, But JBL had a relatively solid reign as champion there, so. And he started his role as very well there for being a heel champion, so I'm going to be fair and put JBL in a B tier there. That's a fair spot to put him in here in the tier list. Next, everybody, we have Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, one-time WWE champion, won a title back at Armageddon. There's an 8th match with Triple H and Edge. A great moment there, but unfortunately, Jeff Hardy's reign would not last too long, as a month later at the Royal Rumble, he would lose it back to Edge in an Extreme Rules match. The Extreme Rules hold the whole bars match, but I was a little fuzzy on that. But anyways, everyone, sorry, sit there. Because Jeff's reign didn't last too long there, and basically saying do this to Jeff because he is one of my favorite wrestlers, but I am going to have to put him in D tier, so. Check this out real quick. And as I was saying, Jeff Hardy, D tier one, Jeff's another one of my favorites, one. Really don't want to put him there, but I gotta look at for Jeff point of view, everyone, so. And, well, it was a cool moment there. If I had filed with a big one. He didn't really have that long title reign there, So, I had to put Jeff Hardy in D tier, so sorry, Jeff Hardy fans, is what it is, so. Hey, I'll see everyone. Yeah, take care of real quick. Alright, we're back, everybody. Sorry about everyone. Sorry about everyone, I had to take care of something real quick. But now we're going to do a little bit more tier list, everyone. Next, everybody, we have Jinder Mahal, everybody, and, Jinder Mahal, one-time WWE champion. Surprisingly went there in around mid-2017 there against Randy Orton at Backlash. And held on to it. Hi, on a second, everyone. Sorry about everyone. I was trying to X out something here. Up bad. It was right where I was trying to get the thing there. But, there's our website there, but it's actually out now. So, anyways, everyone. As I was saying, everyone, before I was interrupted there by the Pub Bad. Jinder Mahal, one-time WWE champion, with Backlash 2017. Held on to it until he lost it to AJ Styles there. We already talked about there, so. Well, everyone, Jinder Mahal, Jinder Mahal, he has somewhat late the title right there, but it's probably one of the least impactful title reigns there. Outside the initial shock of him winning it there, Jinder Mahal's title reign wasn't been able to look back positively there. He continued his feud with Randy Orton there. He did have, matches weren't that good there. Probably the Johnny Prison match, which was a stipulation that a lot of people aren't too fond of there. Then there was some Shinsuke Nakamura, which was Nakamura's first opportunity at the WWE Championship there, and I felt like this is probably where Shinsuke probably should have won the championship there and whatnot. Aside from the time maybe against AJ Styles, so. But they saw Jinder Mahal beat Shinsuke, and, well, it continued for a little bit longer there until Jinder Mahal finally lost to their AJ Styles. And, well, outside of one match that they were trying to reclaim it there, the rematch against AJ, that would be his last stitch on the world title until he would get a shot at the World Championship in 2024 against Rollins during his time as champion. So, anyway, no disrespect to Jinder Mahal, everyone, but, but I don't. But he has probably one of the most, some people say a joke there, but ironically, everybody, they're all probably one of the most mid-title reigns in the history of the championship there, Nothing Jinder Mahal there, don't blame him, more so how he's booked there, And, well, this what really wasn't invested with him as champion there, Well, Jinder Mahal, probably a safe bet to put him in D tier there, so, yeah. Next, everybody, we have John Cena, multiple-time WWE champion over the years, will be challenging Cody Rhodes for WWE title at Wrestlemania this year, like previously mentioned. It could be on his way to becoming a 17-time world champion there. So, everyone, John Cena, he's one of my favorites, everybody. Everyone will admit there was a brief period where I didn't like John Cena too much there, but that was more so, back when he was still with Triple H there, and at the time Triple H was my overall favorite superstar there, wrestler, and I was back with my sister. One of my sisters was still a fan of wrestling there, and her favorite was John Cena there. It was more of a Sylvie Robin kind of thing there, saying, oh, this guy I like's better than the other guy, all that stuff, so. But, this is when I grew more up John Cena there, he is one of my favorite wrestlers there, so. Everyone's had some other people I talk about the list. Everybody has that multiple title reigns there, kind of a mismatch there, but there's gonna be a bit of bias there by. But I feel like John Cena's title reigns been pretty solid for the most part there. There really too many bad reigns per se he's had as champion there. So, but some were stronger than others there. So, and the ones that weren't that good there does affect his overall reign there. So, but I feel like there's enough good John Cena done there during his time as champion. It's enough to warrant him a spot in the A tier there. So, it's a respectable spot to put John Cena in there. Our next person, everybody, we got Kane, the Big Red Machine. Kane is a one-time WWE champion. Won for Stone Cold Steve Austin there. I believe it was King of the Ring 1998. But only held it for one day there until losing it to the next night on Raw. So, everybody, with a theme of short championship title reigns, everybody. the lower end of the tier list, everybody. So Kaylee held on for 1 day there. So I'll say the shock of him beating Austin there. He only held for 1 day. Brought the back to him there. Wasn't really that impactful there. So Cade, easy D tier there for him. All right, next, everybody, we have Diesel, aka Kevin Nash, everybody. As for the mention, Diesel ended up winning the WWE Championship from Bob Backlund. I believe it was the night after Survivor Series there at the house show, won the title for about 8 seconds. It would go on to have a 1-year title reign to lose to Bret Hart in Survivor Series 1995. And everyone, Diesel, everybody. And everyone, Diesel, I have seen people, Diesel is probably one of the weaker reigns of title championship there, And everyone, I've looked back at different matches he's had as champion there. He's had some very hit or miss times there. On one hand, he's had some pretty solid matches there with the likes of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. But he has also had some matches that weren't rest of that good there. But his most infamous one there being that match he had with Mabel at SummerSlam 1995, which a lot of people consider probably the worst main event in SummerSlam history there. And I can't really believe it there, so I'll say that, And this was a tough time in WWE everybody, where the company wasn't doing so financially well there, so. But, feel like, from here one, Diesel, Kevin Nash, he was doing a better job comparison, but, other people there, D tier there, so, well, not on the same level there, gotta give the man credit there for trying to hold the fort down, being as good as he could there, given what he had to deal with there, stuff like that, and a tough time there, company there, stuff like that. So, from here one, I'm gonna put Diesel up in C tier there, so, he's a little bit above the people in D tier, so, like I said, his title reign there was very hit or miss there, and he had some good matches there. They had some very not so good matches there, stuff like that. So, I feel like C2 is a fair spot for Diesel. Alright, next, everybody, we have Kofi Kingston, everybody. Now, it's really sure when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship there from Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 35. Kofi did, his hard work he had. He put in WWE title there, finally becoming Grand Slam champion there, finally with WWE title there, stuff like that. And Kofi will have a solid reign as champion there, but unfortunately, unfortunately, a lot of people talk about Kofi's title right there. It's more so how it ended there. And well, unfortunately, for Kofi Kingston there, he ended up losing the premiere SmackDown episode of Fox to Brock Lesnar in about less than a minute there. And Kofi, outside of a couple of chances there, would not have too many opportunities to fight trying to get the Championship back. Everyone, if Kofi's reign did end the way it did there, it definitely would have given him a somewhat high spot on the list here. Probably A tier, but because of how it ended there, it does affect it there, well, so I feel like Kofi Kingston put him in B tier, would be a relatively fair spot. So he was done dirty there, and hopefully maybe one day Kofi will have another shot at the world title there. But for the time being, they put him in B tier. Sorry, I burst it there. And we'll be back in a sec to hear something real quick. Everybody, I'm back. Sorry, I had to take care of a couple things from Wood there, but now we're back to do the rest of the tier list. Everyone. It was our next, everybody. We're going to be doing Kurt Angle next. Roy Creole is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time there. Multiple times WWE champion there. And either one for a first everybody. So it was one Creole. Creole's had. Creole's one of those wrestlers everybody had pretty solid reigns as champion there. Now they weren't necessarily the longest there, but they were still pretty good reigns overall there. And exciting matches there. So match there, had good rivalries there, the title champion there, whatnot. But there was kind of like one there, being with his rivalries with Brock Lesnar there. Or so the champion there, so and there's his matches there for the titles and whatnot. So from here, Kringle kind of go back and forth there between whether to put him either A or B tier or this tier list or what. But after thinking about it there, I'm going to go and put Kringle at A tier there. I think it's a good spot for Kurt there. So alright, next everybody, we got Mick Foley. Everybody, Mick Foley, a 3-time WWE champion. 3 different times during 1999 there, the tier there. First one there, be the episode Raw, where he defeated The Rock there, and it kind of marked the turn point for WWE, the ratings war with WCW there. As WCW did try to spoil the results for the matchup there, but it caused about 600,000 people to switch channels there to make Foley win WWE title there. Well, Foley stood on Nitro there, watched the infamous figure poke on Doom spot there with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan there, so now that we said everyone, Mick Foley unfortunately did have too long a title reign there with WWE Championships. Or title winning championships there, so I don't know if I give him too high of a spot in the tier list here, so for the time being, I'll go ahead and put Mick Foley as C tier there, but due to how big that moment was there, for when he beat The Rock on episode Raw there, could potentially move up to B tier there, but for now, I'm going to put Mick Foley in C tier. Alright, next everybody, we have Pedro Morales, everybody. Pedro Morales, everybody, would defeat Ivan Koloff, everybody, and had had WWE Championship for a couple years there to lose it to Stan Stasiak there, so And Underwood, they went outside of the match with Ivy Cole of everybody. I'm not really too familiar with Pedro Morales' work there, but you know, it was he had pretty much he had no denying the historical historical his tolerance was there. You know, I believe he was the first Puerto Rican world champion there for WWE. I say held on the title for a couple of years there by, and I believe it's Ray was in the top 5 longest reigns there in Jero for world title reigns there until it got beat up at World Reigns with his time as the WWE / Universal champion there. So yeah, when Wallace should get a relatively good spot in Tier List, but since I'm not too familiar with his work as champion outside the match with Ivan Koloff, I can only give him a B tier for now. So, but I think this is a relatively fair spot to put him in there. So yeah. Okay, well, next up, everybody, we have the Viper Randy Orton. Randy Orton got a couple reigns as WWE champion under his belt there. Sorry, I there. Hope the last one bit. But as I was saying, Randy Orton got a couple reigns as WWE champion under his belt there. Their top points there. First time around was back in 2007. First reign didn't last too long there. It was Triple H and Big A night there, but he would regain at the end of the night. There was no Versi 2007 would have happened there. Or would have hold on to it for a relatively decent amount of time there. For No Mercy to Backlash 2008, where he lost Triple H there. Although at Backlash 2009, Randy Orton would reclaim the title there. After that, 2009 has some back and forth title reigns with John Cena. Another reign, a couple more reigns throughout the 2010s there as well. And his last title reign was in 2020 there, where he briefly became the champion once again by defeating Drew McIntyre. Although he held it for a couple weeks there before losing it to McIntyre on Raw. So everybody, Randy Orton's another one of those where he's kind of got all over the place there with the championship reigns there. So sorry, my person there. Hopefully, last one bit. Sorry, my last one bit there. Hopefully, that'll be it. So, anyways, everyone. So Randy Orton definitely had more good reigns than bad there, but you know, some that didn't last too long there. You know, and you know some of his title reigns there. You know, didn't really have fans too excited there at some points there. So. But, you know, I feel like out of the heel champions, everybody, you know, Randy Orton has some of the best heel character work there as because compared to world champions or everyone. So, other heels have won the world title there. So I'm kind of contemplating whether to put him in B or A tier there. So, for now, I'll put him in B tier, but potentially move up to A. So, yeah. Next up, everybody, we have Macho Man Ray Savage. Ray Savage, 2-time WWE champion. First win back at Wrestlemania 4. Defeated Tedayasi tournament there. Held it about a year there until losing to Hulk Hogan Wrestlemania 5. Then went back at Wrestlemania 8 against Nature Boy Ric Flair. Held it for a decent while there before losing back to Ric Flair in 1992. So, you know, Ray Savage, he did a really good job during his time as champion there. Can't really have a whole lot of complaints there or critiques there. Did a really good job as champion there. So, sorry, my person there. Sorry, I last one bit there for Bourbon Wise. Man, everyone. Everyone, and for everyone, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put Ray Savage on best tier there. He's definitely earned that spot to be recognized one of the best WWE champions there. So yeah. Now, everyone, this next one's gonna be annoying for me to do here, one, but like I said, there'll be there's some ratings or one, Well, everybody, make sure my pair well. Also, gotta make sure look at the judge's point of view as well, kind of like good balance or one. We talk about Rey Mysterio wood. Everyone, Rey Mysterio is one of all time for wrestlers there. He's former WWE champion, but unfortunately, he only held it for one night. It was on episode Raw there, where the title was still vacant, and Rey Mysterio won a championship. The finals beat the Miz, the finals for tournament there. And, well, Rey Mysterio had to win it there, which is a cool moment there, but then Rey Mysterio had to defend the title the same night against John Cena, and John Cena ended up winning back the championship. And unfortunately, that was the only time Rey Mysterio won the WWE championship. Everyone, I've done short tolerates everybody, and unfortunately, Rey Mysterio's gonna be in the same book there. I'm going to put Rey Mysterio in the D tier there, so, man, real shame there. Okay, well, next up, everybody, we have the Nature Boy Ric Flair by. Everyone, before I get to Ric Flair, I had noticed one thing everybody so far. Now, I guess it could just be a little awkward order of the person who made the tier list, but so far I haven't really noticed the Miz there, which a little weird there. Miz is a 2-time WWE champion there. Maybe the Miz will eventually pop up there. Maybe he'll pop up sometime where the T's there. Maybe the person who made the tier list made that weird order there. So, but there's a fight there, beer one. So just realize that there. So, but if you don't see the Miz pop up, everybody, I'll kind of discuss where I would put him at there on the tier list. But I'm gonna keep going here. So, there's everybody. Ric Flair by the Nature Boy, 2-time WWE champion. First win in January the Royal Rumble there. First time WWE Championship was on the line of the Rumble match. Ric Flair to win it there, which is cool there. Held on to title to WrestleMania there, feud with Ray Savage. Previously mentioned, Ray Savage beat him there. Ric Flair went back. But then did not end off the year as champion there, as he would eventually lose the title to Bret the Hitman Hart. He got off Bret's first reign. So Ric Flair, his title reigns weren't that long, everyone, but he's a really good heel character worker by during his time as champion there, so I think that does warrant him a higher spot compared to some other people on tier list there, so I don't know if I would put him as high as up to the people A tier there, so I think for the top B, I'll go put Ric Flair in B tier. I think that's a relatively fair spot to put Ric Flair in. Next everybody, we have Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam ended up beating John Cena in June 2006. He was the first person to announce his cash in advance there. Managed to beat John Cena one night stand to become WWE Champion. And would hold on to the WWE Championship and the ECW Championship simultaneously there, where the relaunch recently happened there. However, unfortunately, Rob Van Dam's salary would be cut short there, as he would end up facing a suspension there after he had somehow got pulled over by cops there for the little fourth way action there. And his salary was cut short at 22 days, so RVDs are one of my favorites by. Very unfortunate that his salary was cut short there, but because didn't last too long there, and it does affect his overall rank in the list by, and everybody kind of contemplate whether or not to put him in C tier there, or put him in D, and but since he is the only person to hold on both the ECW and WWE Championship there, and there was also a moment there he had at one night stand, I think that's enough to at least bump him up to C tier, by opinion, so already put him a C tier for now. Alright, next up, everybody, we have the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Reigns had a couple reigns to each champion under his belt there. First title championship at Survivor Series 2015, where the title was on the line there, I think after Seth Rollins had to vacate due to an injury. But Roman's title reign did not last long there, as Sheamus Wood ended up cashing in. It was a wait to make it time. Roman Reigns' title reign only lasted about 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Roman Wood went back for Sheamus before the year was up. I held on to it there till the Royal Rumble, where the second time the Championship was on the line in the Royal Rumble match. That match was won by Triple H. That's where Roman and Triple H clashed at WrestleMania 32 for the title there. Roman would hold on to a couple months there, had some match with AJ Styles, but would eventually lose it to Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. There would be a couple more years before Roman would get another ring of the title there, and he would hold on to the championship there after the unification match with him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38. It would hold on to the title for 2 years there, until lose it to current champion Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 last year. Now, everyone, in my last tier list, was primarily factoring Roman Reigns' time as the first couple Reigns champion there. I recall putting him in C tier there, but since he did have, that his last reign by, I do think that has helped elevate him up more when Roman Reigns got a little better the character work there, Well, the last couple months during his reign was not so hot there. For a good amount of everybody, Reigns did a very good job there with the WWE Championship there, so I do feel like his last title Reigns champion definitely elevated him up there. So I'm going to go ahead and put Reigns up in B tier here. So next up, everybody, we have Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, a two-time former WWE champion. First went at WrestleMania 31 with the surprise, with a Kai's history there, cashing in during the match there with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. The first matchup, a triple threat, and Seth Rollins would walk out the night as champion there. On to there until he unfortunately had to vacate there due to injury. Seth Rollins would win it back, but it would not last too long there, as he would lose it to previously mentioned Dean Ambrose, who cashed in and won by the bank earlier that night. So yeah, Seth Rollins, so yeah, Burke there. Sure, we'll last one bit. Here's the one. The other one, when it comes to Seth Rollins' first rare by, kind of has some parallels with Chris Jericho where, his overall booking wasn't necessarily the best there. Now, Seth Rollins wasn't necessarily treated like sick Phil there, but he did have to rely on interferences there or to retain the championships there. So, but the championship, a good number of his championship matches there were very good there. But when it comes to regular TV there, Seth Rollins would end up getting the pin there, the short of the stick there, whatnot. Of course, second rate everybody did last too long there. So, because of Seth Rollins' overall place there by I decided that I'm going to put him in C tier there. I think it's a relatively fair spot to put him in there. Now, if Seth Rollins ends up getting another reign as the champion sometime future there, that is going to be a solid one there. It could potentially give him a higher spot in the list, but judging what I remember for his other title reigns, everybody, like C, or I'll put him out there. Alright, next everybody, we have all out flavor Sergeant Slaughter by Sergeant Slaughter, one-time WWE champion won at Royal Rumble 1991. against the Ultimate Warrior, and would hold on to it there until WrestleMania 7, where he would lose it to Hulk Hogan. And everyone, during Slaughter's tired by, it was during a rather controversial part in the golden age of WWE where Sergeant Slaughter was an Iraqi sympathizer there. When this was whole back when the 90s, everybody with the whole stuff with Saddam Hussein and stuff like that there when back when that whole ordeal was going on there, case where WWE was fully real life politics in their product there and stuff like that, And while all the time there, it did get heat there. At the same time, there were, people felt, look back on people felt a lot more taste there back then. Well, can't really blame them for saying that there. So, well, Slaughter, he did serve his role as a heel character well. His title didn't last that long, and, the fact that they were kind of, I don't know what some of y'all are going to say, but Hunter's the first time we used the whole forward heel kind of thing happening there. And I'm fully aware of that. It's not the first time there. We would continue to do that trope even after that there, but this is definitely a case where it was a little too much real life stuff there at times. So, yeah, it does kind of put a damper on Slaughter's reign. So yeah, everyone, I'm going to have to put Swords. Hang on a second, everyone, about Spike get here. There we go. Alright, so Slaughter, I'm going to go ahead and put him in D tier there. So, alright, next up, everybody, we have the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, everybody. Alright, Shawn Michaels there, one of the all-time greats. Had great reigns with the WWE Championship there. Had great feuds with, Bret Hart. And so was Austin there for a championship there. So, all of his matches were pretty good there. There were some infamous moments there, championship right there. Such as the whole thing with him and Vader there, where, Michaels back then Michaels wasn't as well liked as he is now there, and kind of there was one spot, one part of the matchup there where Michaels was yelling at Vader there, it's that and a lot of people do kind of blame Shawn Michaels there for why Vader's run in WWE didn't go as expected there. So, and there was the whole Lost in Smile there, where Shawn Michaels vacated the WWE Championship there not too long after he went back from Psycho Sid, his hometown of into Texas, back at Royal Rumble 1987. So some minor things there it does kind of keep Shawn from putting him in the S tier ranking there, but he can't deny the overall work. ARG put his tribute there, so definitely earns a high spot there, A tier. Next, everybody, we have the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus, everybody. Sheamus, a two-time WWE champion, first win in shocking fashion against John Cena, and around the end of 2009, the first TLC pay-per-view and Tails matchup, would hold on to it there until Elimination Chamber 2010, where he would end up losing the title in that matchup there. John Cena would end up winning that match. Sheamus would end up way back at Fatal 4 in 2010. Well, on to a couple months there before losing to Viper Randy Orton. And it would be a couple more years before Sheamus would get more run there. As previously mentioned, cash out more Reigns there. As Survivor Series held on for about a month, but would lose it to Reigns before the year was up. Well, everybody, I like Sheamus, everybody. I was kind of neutral when he first came to WWE. But he has grown over me over the years there, and he's grown to be a very strong worker by. So, now he said during his time WWE Champion he was still relatively green, so it was surprising as to why that WWE did the title there, But his title reigns weren't, too crazy there, and I remember hearing people say they legit forgot Sheamus even won the WWE Championship there in 2015, so, it does kind of affect Sheamus' overall ranking there in the list by, so don't know where to put him. Well, kind of went back and forth between where to put him in C or D tier. Alright, and kind of compared the list here to some other people in C tier or D tier. Sorry, Sheamus, I'm going to have to put you in D tier there. I said, his title reigns didn't last too long there, and, a lot of people just work behind Sheamus there, WWE champion when he had a title, so, if he has another reign there, ends up being super good, then he'll get higher rank in the list, but for what we got there, give him D tier, so. Alright, looks like I found the Miz there, by he'll be coming up here in a bit, so we'll talk about him in a second. One other person, everybody, hasn't popped up till now recently there. Anyways, everybody, we got Psycho Sid, by Sid, a two-time WWE champion, first win for Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series. 1996 there, and would hold on to it there until Rumble 1987. But was way back. As previously mentioned, Shawn Michaels would vacate the title there, and Sid would end up being the one to win it there and hold on to it until WrestleMania, or he would lose it to The Undertaker uh, where apparently Sid ended up pooping his pants during the matchup there. Well, yeah, and, and for in case you don't know that's true, if I have heard from the people over that is a thing that happened there. So yeah. Gotta get back on top of Haterwood now. And when Sid becomes about Shawn Michaels, everybody thought he had a pretty match with Shawn Michaels there, with WWE Championship there. His first reign was short, but it was served by he did his job fine there. Not fine there, second reign everybody. No disrespect to Sid there, but I feel like he just won a championship there because, Michaels ended up Michaels ended up having the whole thing where he had a vacated championship there, lost his smile pro over there, lose his smile pro over there, whatnot, Sorry again for that reflex, everybody. Hopefully the last one bit. So yeah, everyone, back to what I was saying. Second raid does kind of put a damn problem there. So first raid there, I would give him a C tier, but the second raid does kind of drop Sid down to D by. They did lose the Undertaker there, and as everyone. The one thing that people probably talk most about their matchup there, so for the match quality there, not really big exciting matches. The fact that Sid pooped his pants started there, so. As already said, we in D tier raid. Next, everybody, we have Stan Stasiak everybody. Well, everyone, this is going to be one of the easier ones for me everybody. I'm going to put Stan in D tier one. Stan Stasiak everybody is literally the only person that I really don't know much about there. I'm more familiar with his son, Sean Stasiak. But a whole lot of people really talk about Stan Stasiak's title reign there, outside the fact that he was the one who beat Pedro Morales to win the title, so... I'm sure people won't mind putting Stan Stasiak in D tier there, so yeah. By next, everybody, we have the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin, multiple time WWE champion. First win at WrestleMania 14 against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels there. We'll go have multiple raids there for 1988. His last raid be in 2001 there. And coming in there, the hands of Chris Jericho, and Prince of Chris Jericho ended up becoming the first ever undisputed champion there, being Austin The Rock in the same night. And well, everybody, So Cold, it's going to be a relatively easy one. There, I'm going to put him up at S tier one. Austin had great feuds there, great mic skills there, great rivalries. There's something champion there. People got invested there when he was champion, so Austin, relatively easy one to put S tier there, so yeah. Speaking of relatively easy spots, everybody, next up we have The Miz. Now, everyone, The Miz, 2-time former WWE champion one. First won a title in 2010, everybody. Cash in on Randy Orton. It was still Raw. Where his first WWE title there. And would hold on to it there until Extreme Rules 2011 there, where he would end up losing to John Cena there. Sorry, I burst there. Hold on a bit. Sorry, I burst a little bit there. But anyways, everybody, Miz, the second rated by what happened in 2021, everybody, probably mentioned, cashed in on Drew McIntyre there, but he would not hold on for the title for nearly as long, as he would lose it to Bobby Lashley on Mr. Raw there, so yeah. So yeah, everyone, no offense to Miz, everybody, he's grown on me over the years, but his times as a champion weren't really looked back on very well. His first reign was long, and people were behind him there, plus he had a main event match with John Cena there at WrestleMania 27, which some people call it one of the worst WrestleMania events of all time, so... And second rated by only last couple weeks there, didn't really leave that impactful there, so everyone, Miz, he's going to be a relatively easy one to put in D tier there, so yeah. Next everybody, we have the final boss, the People's Champion, The Rock. Rock, multiple time WWE champion one, multiple times throughout his career there. First win in 1998. And one of the times where the title was defended in tournament that was vacated there, and the tournament turned to a crowd new champion, The Rock, and ended up winning that one there. And his last raid was when he beat the Prince of CM Punk, and Punk's reign as champion there at Royal Rumble 2013. It would hold on to it there till WrestleMania 29, where he would lose to John Cena. And they're twice in a lifetime rematch there. And everyone, Rock's another safe winner with my easy pick there to put S tier with Rock. It's a really good job champion there during times, everybody. We had the title there, lots of big feuds there, great pros there, great matches there, So, yeah, Rock's another safe one to put S tier there, so yeah. Next, everybody, we have the game Triple H, everybody, Paul Levesque. Soon to be 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. Triple H will the time WWE champion would. First went in 1999 on the Raw after SummerSlam against Mankind there. It hold it on multiple times everybody since then. with his last reign, being from 2016 era, Chris mentioned, won the Royal Rumble 2016. Hold on to it there until he lost it to Reigns, maybe WrestleMania 32. Everyone, Triple H is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Everybody, he is my overall favorite when I first got into wrestling there, and he's still been up there one of my favorites of all time. Now that being said, everyone, I'll acknowledge that not all of his title reigns has been solid there, and his last one was a little bit unnecessary there, Just had a championship there, so that way Reigns would have someone big to take you off at WrestleMania 32. So, that being said, I do feel like his majority of his title has been more good than bad there, and he did do his part to help make the title procedures there. As he is one of my favorites, everybody, one of the cases where, I'm going to give him a high spot there, although not at the very top. I'm going to put Triple H up in A tier there, so yeah. Everyone, we are near the end of the list, everybody. We only have 3 people left here on the tier list, everyone. And we get to it here in a sec, but I will be doing one bonus one real quick, everybody. Since he is technically the only person was not on the list there, but, considering the controversies that are starting right now, I don't think anyone's really going to complain about it there. But I will make a brief cover by talk about Vince McMahon, everyone. Now, everyone, never really big fan of Vince McMahon there, and, since the recent controversies there, and allegations, I'm glad he's no longer with WWE, to put it shortly there. That we're now in a time period where WWE is, thriving there without him, muggling everything out there, creative-wise there, and with different controversies cited with there and whatnot, so yeah. But if Vince McMahon was on the list by, he would have been D tier, but he only had a title for 10 days there. He would beat Triple H there for it, and vacated 10 days afterwards there, so, Vince McMahon would have been easy D tier there, but at the very bottom of the list and whatnot there, so yeah. Now, that being said, everyone, let's get to the final 3 superstars, everybody. First, we have the Ultimate Warrior, one-time WWE Champion, won it from Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 6 there, and a title for title matchup there, where the Intercontinental and WWE Championships were on the line, where it came out top. Briefly, was seeing Hogan's place at top 8 face at the time there, but would eventually lose it to Sergeant Slaughter at Royal Rumble in 1991. So, Ultimate Warrior, for his one time, he had a relatively good run as champion there, but people, while there were people that were behind him there, it did get on the same levels as Hulk Hogan there, so I don't know if I can give Warrior too high of a rating on the Spider-Wood, on tier list one, so for his one time, everybody, I feel like Ultimate Warrior would play Ultimate Warrior and beat tier be relatively fair, so yeah. Next, everybody, we have The Undertaker. Undertaker, 2-time WWE Champion, first time around, won it from Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series 1981. However, he would only hold it for 2 days, as he would lose it in 2-day Texas show against Hulk Hogan. And would hold on championship there until 1987, where he won the previously mentioned match there against Psycho Sid, maybe WrestleMania 13. And would hold on to it there until he lost it to Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1997. And everybody, Undertaker's one of my favorites, everybody, but his time as a champion everyone's second reign was better his first one there, but wasn't nearly as strong as some of his, other world title reigns there. Like, example, I feel like a lot of his reigns as the World Heavyweight Champion there beat out both his times as WWE Champion one, so as for the World Heavyweight Champion one, Undertaker would definitely rank a lot higher this list. But since we're focused on WWE title there, I do think Undertaker should be higher up than people in D tier there, so I'll be generous, and he is one of my favorites there. I will give him a C tier, so yeah. And followed by, we have Yokozuna 2-time WWE Champion, first one title at the main event WrestleMania 9 against Bret Hart. But only have it for a short period of time, as he would, as the randomly put together main event, everybody, where immediately put the title against Hulk Hogan there, losing against Hulk Hogan, way back at WrestleMania, my mixed words there, at King of the Ring, 1993, and would hold on to the title till WrestleMania 10, where he would lose it to Bret Hart. And wondered by, Yokozuna would, but his WWE Champion would, his reigns aren't necessarily the worst there, but far from being the best, so he did his job well as a heel character there, but, in that case there, where not everyone was behind the WWE Champion there, and all of his matches were super exciting there, so, and I'll be generous and give him a C tier there, but, don't think really I give anything higher than that, so. And there, everybody, we've officially ranked all of the individuals who have become WWE Champion Video took a little longer for everybody, but it will be trimmed down in post. But anyways, everyone, our final ranking here by in S tier, we have Bret Hart, Bruno Sammartino, Randy Savage, Stone Steve Austin, and The Rock. In A tier, we have AJ Styles, Bob Backlund, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. In B tier, we have Billy Graham, Eddie Guerrero, Bobby Lashley, Edge, Hulk Hogan, JBL, Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, Pedro Morales, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, Roman Reigns, and the Ultimate Warrior. In C tier, we have Batista, Big E, Brock Lesnar, Buddy Rogers, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff, Diesel, Mick Foley, Rob Van Dam, Seth Rollins, Undertaker, and Yokozuna. And finally, at the very bottom of D tier, we have Alberto Del Rio, Andre the Giant, Big Show, Bray Wyatt, Jeff Hardy. Sorry, I burped a second there. Jericho Hall, Kane, Rey Mysterio, Sergeant Slaughter, Sheamus, Psycho Sid, Stan Stasiak, and The Miz. So there, everybody, that is my updated tier list for the WWE Championship tier list. Everybody finalized there. It'll probably be a good while before I do another one of these, everybody. So, the video took a little longer for everyone, but still fun to do everyone. But now we're updating up for everyone. Let me all know what you think about the tier list, everybody. Let me know who your picks for the best and worst of each champions of all time there. So, and like I said, those are the first different wrestling videos, everybody. I'll be doing here before I can wrestle everybody. Also, the non-wrestling videos, everyone. Speaking with everybody, next video, everyone, I will be doing my first sort of review in almost 2 years, everybody. As I'll be talking about the One Piece anime, everyone. Watch One Piece, everybody, all the way up to the end of One, everybody. Me talk about One Piece for a while, everybody. I'm going to make sure to get that video done sooner, everyone, to make sure I'll see for that. I'll make sure I have some more reviews coming out sooner, everyone. But till then, this is all wrap things up for everyone. If you all like saw here, make sure you all hit the like button. New channel, subscribe, and bell notification icon so you see uploads. I'll see you next time. Have a big peace.